Don't gamble on an expensive Disney World hotel stay. Today's ultimate guide is going to explore every single Disney World resort for you, and I've literally stayed at all of them, so you'll know exactly what to expect before you book. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. So recently we released a video called The Ultimate Guide to Choosing a Disney World Hotel, but today we're actually going to be doing the choosing. We're going to explore every single resort that you could possibly book during your next Disney World vacation, kind of like speed dating for hotels. And throughout the entire video, we're going to be giving you the most important information about each resort, including price ranges, who these hotels are best suited for, and bonus hot tips along the way too. So be on the lookout for this symbol because whenever it pops up on the screen, that means you're about to receive some rather under the radar advice exclusive to that hotel. But before we get into all of that, let's cover a few of the basics just in case you haven't seen The Ultimate Guide to Choosing a Disney World Hotel yet. Disney World is made up of over 20 different hotels that are broken up into 3 different categories. Value, those are the most affordable with the fewest amenities. Moderate, the middle of the road with a few extra amenities. And deluxe, the most expensive with the most amenities. Deluxe resort guests will have additional benefits like extended evening hours, which happen on certain nights at certain parks and only allow deluxe resort guests the chance to stay in that park for up to 2 hours after it closes for everyone else. Extended evening hours can be a bit sporadic, but if you're trying to find out which parks are going to offer them during your upcoming stay, we do have them listed out on our free 12-month Disney World calendar. You can pick that up right now by scanning the QR code you see on the screen or clicking on the link in the video's description for disneyfoodblog.com/WDW calendar. Okay, now that the recap is over, let's start resort hopping. We're starting today's video with not just one, but 3 different value resorts all at once. You can choose to stay at AllStar Music, AllStar Movies, or AllStar Sports. What's the difference between each of these, aside from the overall theming? Well, not a whole lot, really. Each one is a motel setup, meaning your door will lead to an outside hallway. All the theming is big and bold and colorful and very kid-coded, though adults will appreciate the whimsy too. And when it comes to dining, your main choice is going to be food courts, which you'll come to find are typical for the value resorts. Value resort food courts aren't going to serve you any meals that really hit you with the wow factor or anything, but they will provide a lot of options to cater to all the different palates in your group. Just a side note, we're going to be recapping Disney's resort restaurants very briefly throughout today's video, but they do deserve a lot of undivided attention because many of those restaurants are shockingly good. So if you want to learn more about the different food offerings across all of these different hotels in way more detail, then check out the DFB Guide to Walt Disney World Dining. That's over at dfbstore.com. The biggest difference between these 3 resorts here, the AllStar Resorts, is the room offerings, specifically the ones you can find at AllStar Music. While AllStar Movies and Sports only offer standard rooms with 1 king bed or 2 queen beds, one in which can fold up into the wall during the day to give you a little more room to spread out and get changed, AllStar Music also has an additional room option, those glorious family suites. These family suites are going to give you a separate bedroom and living area, 2 bathrooms, a little kitchenette area with a full-sized fridge, and enough room to sleep up to 6 people. These are also going to be your most affordable suite options, Disney-wide. Standard rooms for the AllStar hotels tend to range around $170 per night during slow season, which is like back to school or post-spring break time, and can get to be $255 plus per night during peak season, which is going to be those major holiday times like Christmas. So, just by rule of thumb, if you're traveling during average vacation seasons, expect the price of a standard room to land somewhere in the middle of that spectrum. Meanwhile, the AllStar family suites tend to cost $400 to $450 plus per night. The AllStar resorts are great for families who want to stick to a budget and yet still receive all those Disney perks that are allotted to every Disney hotel guest. But like if you're coming to Disney for your honeymoon or your dating anniversary or a bachelorette weekend, then the AllStars might not be exactly what you're looking for. Now here's a hot tip. Usually pool hopping is not allowed around the Disney resorts, but if you're staying at one of the AllStars, you're more than welcome to pool hop between the feature and quiet pools at Music, Movies, and Sports. All right, Art of Animation Resort. If you want the epitome of a Disney hotel experience, this is it. This is Disney-fied, my friends, as Disney-fied as it gets. Art of Animation celebrates Disney and Pixar animation, specifically for 4 movies in particular: Cars, The Little Mermaid, Finding Nemo, and The Lion King. Much like the AllStar Resorts, you're going to find over-the-top props and colors and whimsy everywhere you turn, but it's also going to be a whole lot more Disney-specific here, where each section will be themed around one of these 4 movies. If you book a room in the Little Mermaid section, though, you're going to be booking the most affordable rooms of this entire resort. These are your standard options with either 1 king bed or 2 queen beds. And while these rooms haven't been updated in a hot minute, they're still super cute with all the Little Mermaid touches throughout. These rooms are a little pricier than the standard rooms at the AllStar Resorts and cost around $245 during slow season, with the ability to get as high as $300 to $400 during peak season. These are also really far away from the food court and the bus stop, so just be prepared if you book Little Mermaid rooms, you're going to be walking a lot. Meanwhile, over in the other 3 sections of the resort, you're not going to find any standard rooms. You'll only find family suites. These have a very similar setup to the All-Star Music family suites, though you're not going to find a full-size fridge here like you will at All-Star Music, just a mini one. But what makes them really shine are their immersive Disney themes. These family character suites, on average, cost around $600 to $750 per night. So let's address the obvious. Art of Animation definitely has the most expensive value resort rooms, which is why this place is often called a Value Plus resort. But that's due to a combo of things, including the intense character theming and its dedicated Skyliner station. The Disney Skyliner is this absolutely fabulous sky gondola transportation service that'll carry you straight over to 2 out of the 4 Disney parks, as well as several of the other Disney resorts nearby. It is super convenient, it is fairly quick, and it's a whole lot of fun, and it really upped the ante when it comes to the 2 value resorts that it connects to. This actually really raised up these particular hotels in my estimation, Art of Animation and Pop Century. Having the Skyliner is a huge benefit. With that being said, Art of Animation is a great fit for first-time Disney guests who want to be immersed and stay immersed in the Disney magic all trip long. All right, hot tip for Art of Animation. Another big selling point for this resort is its multiple themed character pools. Usually the feature Big Blue Pool gets the majority of the attention, but don't sleep on the quiet pools here, like the Little Mermaid Flippin' Fins pool or the Cars themed Cozy Cone pool. In fact, if you can get up and around early enough to hit up Cozy Cone, you'll have a better chance at grabbing one of those free first come first serve poolside cabanas that are shaped like giant orange traffic cones. Okay, we've made it to Pop Century, ready to be blasted into the past by huge waves of nostalgia? Then you're really gonna love what Pop Century has to offer. Once more with feeling, y'all. Again, we've got a value resort with over-the-top props and colors and all things larger than life. But this time, the props you're gonna run into will represent different decades, ranging from the 1950s up to the 1990s. The rooms here are all standard, much like you'll find at the All-Star Movies and Sports hotels, and they cost a little more than the All-Star standard rooms, but a little less than the Art of Animation standard rooms. This makes them the most affordable place to stay along the Skyliner route, because Pop Century is right across the way from Art of Animation, so these 2 resorts share a Skyliner station. But the Skyliner is situated more on the Art of Animation side of things, so be prepared for a little walk in order to reach it. Much like all the other value resorts, Pop Century only has a food court on offer, but they did recently reimagine that food court by updating the dining area and adding a lot of new and more innovative offerings, so we do appreciate that. This is a resort that I can't recommend enough for families who want to save as much money as possible on their upcoming hotel stays, but still want the best transportation convenience to the parks. But, and I'm going to start to sound like a broken record here, because this place is so family and kid friendly, this definitely isn't going to be your quietest resort option, especially considering this resort has the most rooms on offer. So be prepared for large crowds, lots of kids, laughing or yelling or crying, depending on whether it's way past nap time or not. There's also the downside of Pop Century not having any rooms that'll accommodate families with more than 4 people. But you can always book 2 connecting rooms instead if you're looking for more space while staying along the Skyliner. Now, hot tip, if you haven't had a chance to visit Pop Century Resort, you might want to, even if you're not staying there, just to admire the shadow boxes filled with blasts from the past in the lobby. In keeping with this fun and colorful value resorts theme, the shadow boxes in the lobby include items reflecting music and television, fads, trends, gizmos, and gadgets from those various decades represented. And if you're, maybe a millennial or a little older like I am, you're going to find a lot of stuff that reminds you of your childhood there. Okay, we've made it to the moderate resorts, and we're going to start with Caribbean Beach Resort. The theming is right there in the name. It's a beach-like setting themed around the Caribbean, so expect to find colorful pastel architecture, peaceful sandy beach sides with first-come, first-serve hammocks, lots of different pools, and one of the best tropical pool bars, property-wide, Banana Cabana. This is also where you're going to find the really cool Fuentes del Moro pool, which is themed like a colonial Spanish fortress. And this is also where you're going to find the main Skyliner hub area. So basically, whenever you need to transfer from one Skyliner cabin to another, this is where you're going to end up. Now, as much as there is to love about Caribbean Beach, there's also a lot to not love about it. It's a very spread out resort, so depending on where your room is, you might have to walk a good distance before you reach the main lobby area, the restaurants, even the Skyliner station. Sometimes your room might be so far out that the Riviera Resort Skyliner station is going to be closer to your room than the Caribbean Beach one, which is fine. You can still use that Skyliner station if you want. Speaking of rooms, most of your room styles are going to be that standard sleep up to 4 guests layout, but there are some room options available that'll give you a 5th sleeper pull-out bed here if you need to accommodate one more person in your fam. Now, for the record, those additional 5th sleeper beds are kid-sized, so if you're trying to accommodate 5 fully grown adults, you're better off just booking 2 standard connecting rooms here or going somewhere else entirely. Some of those 5th sleeper rooms will have that basic Caribbean-style theming, but others have been recently remodeled with Little Mermaid theming. While you aren't guaranteed a Little Mermaid room when you book a 5th sleeper here, you can always try calling up the resort and putting in a request for one. Standard rooms at Caribbean Beach can be as low as $280 per night during slow season, with the ability to spike up to $500 per night during peak season. As for those 5th sleeper options, expect to pay an average around $330 to $375 per night. In general, while this might not be my all-time favorite Disney resort, it's a great fit for those looking for a variety of pool options, the convenience of the Skyliner, and a little more hotel room space for the family without having to break the bank. Not to mention, the food options here are slowly but surely getting a little better, but food court's still not great. That said, Sebastian's Bistro has recently crept up on our radar as being a solid option for those looking for an all-you-can-eat meal at a decent price point. And again, Banana Cabana, one of our favorite pool bars, and this is a little more than your average pool bar. There's definitely more tables, more cover, and a good menu. It's also important to note that Caribbean Beach doesn't have any elevators for its upper story rooms. So if you have someone in your group with mobility issues, or you just don't want to lug your tired kid in their giant stroller up and down the stairs every day, then you'll definitely want to request a room on the first floor. Now, hot tip for Caribbean Beach, since we've already mentioned making your room requests, here's another room request you might want to make to keep yourself as close to the Skyliner as possible. The closest building to Caribbean Beach's main Skyliner hub is the Jamaica Village, and the closest building to Riviera's main Skyliner hub is the Aruba Village. There are no wrong choices here, and as always, room requests like this aren't a guarantee, but being closer to the main Skyliner hub could mean a lot more foot traffic closer to your room, but no additional Skyliner transfers needed, while being closer to the Riviera Skyliner station means a quieter stay, but you will still need to transfer cabins once you reach the main Skyliner hub to make it the rest of the way to your destination. Ah, yes, Coronado Springs, a resort that went from being one that I liked all right to being one of my favorite Disney hotels thanks to the addition of Gran Destino Tower. Coronado Springs is all about Spanish artistry and whimsy, which is why the Casita, Rancho, and Cabana rooms, all in the El Centro loop around the lake, have more of those desert, clay, warm tones about them. But then, when you step inside the newer Gran Destino Tower, the Spanish artistry is still there, but a lot more modern and upscale, and really makes you feel like you've stepped into a deluxe resort instead of a moderate one. If you want a cheaper stay, you'll still want to choose one of the standard rooms in the El Centro Circle. Standard rooms here tend to be at their lowest about $260 per night and at their peak $470 per night. You can also get a 1 to 2 bedroom suite in this section. The 1 bedroom suites can cost $1,200 to $1,300 per night, while the executive suite that sleeps up to 8 guests costs around $1,700 to $1,800 per night. Now, inside that ritzy Gran Destino Tower, you're not just finding a rooftop restaurant, lounge, and high-end fitness center. You're finding some one-of-a-kind rooms that are usually exclusive to the deluxe resort scene. Along with standard rooms, you're also going to find club-level rooms here too. which is rare and otherwise unheard of outside of the deluxe resort sphere. Club level rooms are similar to standard rooms for the most part, but they've got extra perks like dedicated concierge services and VIP access to the resort's club level lounge, where you'll receive complimentary snacks and beverages when you swing by throughout the day. The cheapest standard rooms inside the Gran Destino Tower typically cost around $450 to $500 per night, but adding that club level title to your stay will bump that price up an extra $200 to $300 more per night. For the record, even if you book a club level stay at Gran Destino, which feels more like a deluxe hotel option and kind of costs that much too, you still won't get that extended evening hours benefit that's reserved for deluxe resort guests. So if that's something you were wanting to get as a reward for spending cash on a resort stay, then you're still better off just straight up booking the deluxe resort room. Coronado is one of those default resort options that I love to stay in just for the vibes. Not to mention, it has some of the best dining on property and the absolute best moderate resort dining by a long shot. Not to mention, the Lost City of Cibola pool is right on par, if not even better than the Fuentes del Morro pool at Caribbean Beach Resort due to its impressive 50-foot pyramid and Jaguar Spirit water slide and largest hot tub on property. But if you're wanting more transportation options beyond just the Disney buses, or if you want to stay at a resort that's not nearly as spread out, Coronado Springs can be a challenge to get around and even more of a challenge to get anywhere on property super quickly without just taking your own set of wheels everywhere you go. It's also good to know that while Gran Destino has rooms that exit into an indoor hallway, the OG rooms in the El Centro Loop are more motel style and exit outside. While this might not deter you immediately, it might deter you a little bit when you consider that Orlando can have pretty unpredictable storms throughout the year, so you might have to walk a long way in the rain to make it back over to your room if you book one of those cheaper options versus everything being covered and keeping you out of the elements if you book a room inside the Gran Destino portion instead. Now, hot tip, the best Gran Destino Tower views might actually be the cheapest. Yep, while the water view rooms are still gorgeous, the ones that look out across the parking lot might, emphasize the might, point you in the direction of the fireworks for Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios and Epcot. They'll be way in the distance, but depending on the room, you might be able to catch a few shows every night from your window. Okay, this is 2 moderate resorts in 1 southern style location. Welcome to Port Orleans. When you book a stay at Port Orleans, you can choose between staying at Port Orleans French Quarter, which is a more compact hotel with family-friendly Mardi Gras theming and the only place you're going to find Mickey beignets on Disney World property. Or you can choose Port Orleans Riverside, which is a lot bigger and less about the party scene, but more about the rural Louisiana vibes. Riverside is also where you're going to find the royal guest rooms themed around the Disney princesses with LED fireworks in the headboards. Despite being decked out to the nines, these royal rooms have a standard setup with 2 queen beds and 1 bathroom. Aside from the royal guest rooms, most of the rooms around Riverside are fairly clean and basic and standard, with touches of Princess and the Frog themes livening up the place. There are 5th sleeper option rooms too if you need 1 more bed for 1 more guest. Meanwhile, over at French Quarter, the only room options you're going to find are standard with either 1 king bed or 2 queen beds. These rooms have been recently refurbished, so their subtle Princess and the Frog theming has been updated to look very elegant with pops of orange against the pastel blush and teal hues. On average, the standard rooms for French Quarter and Riverside cost about the same, around $330 to $380 per night. If you want a 5th sleeper option at Riverside, you can sometimes find them as low as $330 during slow season, but at their peak, expect them to spike up to $500 per night. When it comes to restaurants across both resorts, expect to find food courts with Cajun-inspired entrees like my beloved jambalaya that they have here, which I love that they serve with that cornbread. It's so good. And of course, there are lounges that play live music on select evenings. Out of the 2 resorts, Riverside is the only one to have a full sit-down restaurant called Boatwright's Dining Hall, available for dinner only. But if you're looking for more dining options, no problem. Just jump on board one of the river boats and ride over to Disney Springs. Over there, you're going to have literally hundreds of options to eat. In general, the Port Orleans resorts are strong, moderate hotel competitors for that Disney Springs riverboat access and the royal guest rooms and the Mickey beignets alone. It's a place where both adults and kids will find reasons to ooh and ah and never want to leave. Oh, and get this, much like you can pool hop between the AllStar Resort pools, you can pool hop between the Port Orleans pools as well, just to give you more splishin' and splashin' choices and to make sure no Port Orleans guest has to miss out on sliding down that big old sea serpent over on the French Quarter side. Now, hot tip, it's become a tradition in recent years for Disney's Port Orleans French Quarter to host a parade and party for Mardi Gras on Fat Tuesday. During the celebration, you'll get to see a live band, Princess Tiana in a horse-drawn carriage, and several golf carts gussied up by cast members to represent those big and bold Mardi Gras themes. And the best part is that anyone can come on over on Mardi Gras to check it out. We've made it to the deluxe resorts. Okay, the first one we're talking about today also happens to be one of my personal favorites for several reasons. Animal Kingdom Lodge is like an extension of Animal Kingdom Park. Here, you're going to find a lot of authentic African artistry decorating the lobby and the rooms and the restaurants, all of it. And the most unique feature about this resort is the fact that it's got multiple African-inspired savannas in its backyard, where you can see live zebra, giraffes, gazelles, and more during your visit. There is a variety of room styles to choose from here, which are actually broken up between two sections of the hotel. First, you've got the main Animal Kingdom Lodge area. It's called Jumbo House. This is going to be typically where your cheaper options are. And you've got the standard rooms that can sleep up to 4 guests. You've also got deluxe studios that can sleep up to 4 guests, but include extra accommodations like a kitchenette and a microwave. You've got 1 to 3 bedroom villas, and you've got club level rooms too. Then there's Kidani Village. Kidani Village has many of the same room types with just a little different interior design work going on. The big difference between Jumbo and Kidani is that Kidani is a Disney Vacation Club or DVC area of the resort entirely. Now, DVC is a whole other topic for a different day, and we've done lots of videos on it, but basically this is Disney's timeshare offering where DVC members are allotted a certain amount of points each year to book a DVC resort. Now, non-DVC resort guests are more than welcome to still book Disney Vacation Club rooms. Just expect them to be pretty pricey when you pay for them out of pocket. When it comes to pricing, room prices can vary greatly at Animal Kingdom Lodge, not just depending on the room style, but the room's view. And that's because several rooms have the extra benefit of a Savannah view balcony. Now that means you get to say Jumbo or hello to the animals down below each morning. A standard room at the Jumbo House with no Savannah view is going to be your cheapest option here. During slow season, you're looking at paying about $500 per night, with prices getting as high as $900 if you're vacationing during peak season times. Your view here is mostly going to be rooftops and parking lot. Now, there's also pool view that'll cost you a little bit more, but if you go the Savannah view route, these prices are liable to hike up by a good $100 to $200 more per night. As far as 1 to 3 bedroom suite options are concerned, well, this is going to be a typical theme with all the deluxe resorts. Expect to pay thousands. The average price for a 1-bedroom suite at Animal Kingdom Lodge is going to put you back $1,500 to $1,800 per night, while the average price for a 2-bedroom will be about $2,600 to $2,800 per night. Yeah, let's get that sticker shock out of the way now, because that's going to be a pretty consistent occurrence for all the deluxe hotels we talk about today. But my advice for anyone who really wants to book a deluxe resort stay in the future is to never pay rack rate for these rooms if you can avoid it. The special offers, deals, and discounts page on the Disney World website is constantly offering some sort of discount for future hotel guests. You don't ever have to pay rack rate. Often these discounts will help you save 20 to 30% on your future resort stays, not just deluxes, all of them, if not even more than that. And if you're not finding any discounts that fit your particular trip's timeline, wait it out a bit and keep checking. Or better yet, go ahead and reach out to a reliable and free travel agent. Our friends at Small World Vacations always help us to get the discount we're searching for, so I'll go ahead and drop their info down in the description for you, just in case you want to reach out for a free quote. Now, whether you decide to stay at AKL or not during your upcoming vacation, I do implore you to come visit this resort regardless. And that's not just because of the African artwork and backyard savannah, though that's all a huge draw for sure, because there's lots of places to see the animals, even if you're not in the rooms. But also because this resort has some of the best restaurants on property. I think this is the best dining hotel in Disney World. So whether you're dining at their quick service, their buffet, or one of their sit-down meals, all of these restaurants take place in a beautiful beautiful setting and serve up African-inspired flavors with a unique twist. And if you eat at the Sanaa table service restaurant, you might get the opportunity to eat a nice meal next to a window overlooking one of the savannas. Animal Kingdom Lodge is a catch-all and one of the most unique resorts you're going to find on property. The biggest downfall of this hotel is the lack of transportation options and its distance from all other parks aside from Animal Kingdom. This is the only deluxe resort out there that doesn't have extra transportation beyond just buses, which can be a bit of a pain in the you-know-where if you're trying to get anywhere quick. So either bring your own car or be ready to have some long transportation timeframes. Hot tip for Animal Kingdom, try booking a standard room with a standard view, but requesting a partial savanna view. If your request is fulfilled, you'll still be able to see the animals, but your view might be slightly or majorly obstructed. While it's not always a guarantee you'll get a partial savanna view room when you put in a request for one, it's always worth asking about, especially since it'll save you from having to pay that extra couple $100 each night for the animal views, and you still get to see the animals from your window, at least kind of. Step right up to the Boardwalk Inn, a deluxe resort that takes its turn-of-the-century charm and combines it with a little modern-day magic. Just recently, the rooms of this resort have been completely renovated, so you'll still be getting that vintage chic look, but with more updated furniture and overall amenities and I guess fewer jewel tones. And speaking of revamping, over the past few years, Boardwalk has made a lot of significant changes to its resort, including a major lobby update, a reimagined Boardwalk deli, a new coffee shop called Carousel Coffee, a remodeled feature pool that took out the scary clown slide and added a Mickey theming around it instead, a new creative corn dog kiosk called Blue Ribbon Corn Dogs, and one of the most noteworthy additions of them all, the Cake Bake Shop, which is a restaurant, tea room, champagne bar, and bakery all in one. Boardwalk Inn has a very similar room offering to what Animal Kingdom Lodge or really any of the deluxe resorts offer. But what many people don't know that you can book here is one of those exclusive and very private 2-story garden suites that were also remodeled just recently. These are perfect for like honeymooners and stuff like that. Now, a standard room at Boardwalk Inn, at its lowest, with no additional discounts, is going to cost you $660 per night. But during peak season times, it's not surprising to see these standard rooms break the $1,000 mark. As far as those 2-story garden suites are concerned, on average, it's going to cost you $2,000 plus to stay here per night. The Boardwalk Inn has a lot going for it. It's a peaceful jaunt around the water during the day, but also has a great nightlife scene thanks to its nearby lounges and Atlantic Dance Hall for those who are 21 and over, which is open on Thursday to Sunday nights only. It's also important to note that, in general, the Boardwalk Inn's new vintage theming might not be everyone's cup of tea. While there are definitely still Disney nods throughout, there are also things more focused around classic Coney Island, which means you're bound to see those infamous nanny chairs staring you down in the lobby. Just don't look directly into their eyes and you should be fine. But I think one of the best parts about the Boardwalk is not only the fact that you've got a Skyliner station nearby, but you're also within walking distance to Epcot's International Gateway, which is the backside of the park. So if you plan on spending multiple days in Epcot, or if you're going for the Food and Wine Festival, this could be a great resort to invest in. The hotel is also within walking distance to Hollywood Studios, making it a solid option if you're looking for an adults-only trip or a trip with bigger kids who want to spend more time at the Disney parks with more thrills and more cultural offerings, versus spending a lot of extra time at Magic Kingdom. Though Magic Kingdom isn't all that far away from Boardwalk Inn either. Now, hot tip, if you're hanging out at Boardwalk Inn's Bellevue Lounge, which is a hot tip in and of itself because this place is severely underrated, try asking for the secret menu option, the Shadow. This dessert drink has been around for years now, just not directly on the menu, and it's made with a mixture of Chambord, Godiva chocolate liqueur, vanilla vodka, and heavy cream. Truly, it's as much of a dessert as it is a cocktail. Okay, what's the best way to describe Disney's contemporary resort? How about a hodgepodge of Disney modernism? Yeah, okay, that works. There's a little something for everyone at the Contemporary Resort, though. Kids will love the restaurants like Chef Mickey's, and they'll also love sleeping in a room that's completely themed around Pixar's Incredibles, while adults will love date nights here at California Grill or Steakhouse 71. And everyone will love that this resort not only has a monorail that drives directly through the hotel, a monorail that'll take you right on over to Magic Kingdom or the other monorail area resorts, or Epcot after a quick transfer, but it's also within walking distance to Magic Kingdom Park. It is the closest hotel to Magic Kingdom. Now, the Contemporary has a lot, and I mean a lot, of room options, but not all of Contemporary's rooms are located in the main tower. In fact, the Contemporary's diced up into 3 separate sections. Aside from the main tower, you've also got the garden wing, which will give you cheaper room options, but you'll be farther away from the Contemporary's main amenities, including the monorail. And you've got the Bay Lake Tower, which is Contemporary's Disney Vacation Club area. So if you're wanting to stay in the main A-frame tower of the resort that the monorail goes through, don't book a room at Bay Lake or in the garden wing. Otherwise, you might wind up pretty disappointed. But I will say those are still very close. It's not like you're walking a mile or anything. You're walking about 5 minutes to get over to that main A-frame building. So heads up on that. I still love the Bay Lake Tower and Garden View rooms. Now, when it comes to those more affordable Garden Wing standard rooms, you might see prices drop down to $600 per night during slow season, but those standard rooms can still get as high as $1,000 plus per night during the holidays. The price of Magic Kingdom convenience, for sure. But if you book a standard room in the main tower, the average price tends to range around $900 to $980 per night. Unless, that is, you book a room with a theme park view to watch the Magic Kingdom fireworks every night, then expect your room to cost an extra $100 to $200 per night on top of that. Okay, hot tip. Want to watch the Magic Kingdom fireworks for free without booking a theme park room or booking a reservation at California Grill? You can check out the fireworks viewing deck right outside the Contemporary's Grand Canyon Concourse on the 4th floor. You don't need to be a guest of the Contemporary to watch the fireworks from this vantage point. But if you want to sit down during the show, you need to show up here early. If the deck is already full by the time you arrive, you can always go up the staircase to the left on the viewing deck and walk up to an empty floor to watch instead. Fort Wilderness is all about the great outdoors, which is why the name of the game here is cabins and campgrounds and lots of outdoor recreation activities like kayaking and archery and horseback riding and the like. You don't even need to go to the theme parks if you're staying here. Oh, there's also a full-on dinner theater show over at Fort Wilderness too called Hoop-De-Doo Musical Review, which is the only dinner theater show you're going to find property-wide. Honestly, it feels weird to add Fort Wilderness to the deluxe resort category because it used to be a moderate resort before the DVC takeover. And let's be honest, most of this resort is like camping. But that DVC takeover remodeled all the outdoor cabins that exist here and made them a whole lot more modern while still keeping essences of the rustic chic look. Now, these cabins are still some of the most affordable Disney Vacation Club options that you're going to find. These 1-bedroom cabins sleep up to 6 adults and have 1 queen bed, 1 pull-down from the wall queen bed, and a bunk bed, which is a real big selling point for the kids, I'm sure. These cabins also come with a full kitchen and your own patio deck, which is a real big selling point for adults because this is one of Disney's rare resort options that doesn't have you shoulder to shoulder with other people. Normally, a cabin at Fort Wilderness will cost you $580 to $650 per night. Now, let's say you've got an RV or a camper or a really bougie tent that you'd be cool to crash in throughout your Disney stay. You can always book the Fort Wilderness campsite instead, which is going to give you a concrete pad and sewage hookup for your vehicle. The cheapest pop-up campsites will cost around $150 a night on average, but if you're looking for more premium campsites that'll keep you closer to the resort's main amenities, like lobby, dining, rentals, gift shop, you might end up paying more around $250 to $270 per night. For the record, extended evening hours are only available for those who've booked a Fort Wilderness cabin. So if you've booked a slab of land over at the campsite, don't be thrown off guard if you don't receive those deluxe perks as a Fort Wilderness campsite guest. I feel like I've sung the same tune about several of these Disney resorts, but I'm gonna sing it again. Fort Wilderness is a maze, so much so, in fact, that you have the option to rent a golf cart to help you navigate the grounds while you're here, which is actually a hoot and a holler, so you might want to save back for that just for fun. But good news, Fort Wilderness isn't too far away from Magic Kingdom, so if you head over to the resort's boat dock, you can hitch a ride to Magic Kingdom via watercraft in style. But yeah, just remember that this place is huge and there's actually internal buses that are going to take you to all different areas of the campsite. So it could take some time figuring out how to get around this place. Now, here's your hot tip for Fort Wilderness. You can deck out your cabin and campsite around the holidays. This is actually a rather popular tradition for those staying at Fort Wilderness and during Christmas time. It's a lot of fun to take your golf cart out after sunset to see all the different lights and inflatables decorating the grounds. There's a list of decorating rules featured on the Fort Wilderness Cabins and Campgrounds main page, so make sure to take a look at that before you go stocking up and going all Clark Griswold during your upcoming stay. So let's say you're celebrating something big, something super special, and you really want to go all out for it with the bougiest Disney World hotel on property. Well, here you go, the bucket list resort for many Disney fans across the globe, Grand Floridian Resort and Spa. Grand Flo is a classy Victorian hotel where you're going to find high-end dining, boutique shops, live piano music in the lobby, and yes, a full spa, which does cost extra and covers a variety of services. Grand Floridian has undergone and is still undergoing a lot of refurbishments over the past few years, but these refurbs have led to spruced up restaurants, including the reopening of the Character Buffet, 1900 Park Fair, as well as spruced up Mary Poppins themed rooms, including the brand new Mary Poppins themed DVC rooms in Big Pine Key. When it comes to room options, Grand Floridian's got the whole kit and caboodle. There are standard rooms, many with fifth sleeper options, there are deluxe rooms, and there are club level rooms. There are 1 to 3 bedroom villas and suites, there are studios, and there's the theme park views where you can watch the Magic Kingdom fireworks from the comfort of your room each night. Your absolute cheapest option, if you're wanting to spend a night or two at this high-end hotel just to say that you did, is a standard room around slow season, which will more than likely cost you around $830 per night. Yep, that's your cheapest option, and the same standard room could also cost you well over $1,300 if you're visiting during peak season. Your absolute most expensive room option at this resort will be the club-level Grand Suite. While it might not be one of the biggest rooms you can book here, it's definitely one of the fanciest and gives you panoramic window views across the resort. Hold your breath, because on average, this type of suite is going to cost you $4,000 per night, but it can get up into the $6,000 range if you book it around the holidays. Yep, this is definitely the most expensive resort on property, but there's still a lot to love about it between convenient monorail transportation, walkways to the Magic Kingdom, marinas for boat rentals or rides, and the high-end dining experiences, including the Michelin-awarded Victoria and Albert's. You're not going to walk away from this hotel feeling unpampered and unappreciated. Hot tip, Grand Floridian is currently the only Disney World resort that still offers any sort of in-room dining option. Yep, room service is here and here alone. You can have food delivered up to your room to enjoy a meal and fireworks without having to switch out of your jammies. Another beachy resort coming your way. Old Key West is inspired by Florida's natural charms, so palm trees, warm sand, hammocks, key limes, and the like. Old Key West is Disney's very first Disney Vacation Club resort, which is why, when you're here, you're bound to run into a family or two who have been part of DVC for a good long while, like since the 1990s. The Old Key West rooms are also very spacious. In fact, these are going to be probably the biggest rooms you're going to find in a Walt Disney World resort. After they built this one, they started making the rooms much smaller in the DVC resorts. So just a heads up on that, you're going to get a lot more space in here than you're going to get in other DVC resorts. The smallest rooms you can book here are the deluxe studios that are going to sleep up to 4 guests with 2 queen beds. But even the deluxe studios will still hook you up with a little private outdoor balcony or porch. Beyond the studios, what you'll mostly find here are 1 to 3 bedroom villas. And since 3 bedroom villas can sleep up to 12 people here, these might be your preferred resort option if you're planning on traveling with a bigger group. A studio here during slow season can actually be more affordable, quote unquote, as a deluxe resort option, priced around $480 per night. But these studio rooms can also easily bump up to $820 around peak travel times. Meanwhile, the average price for villas is quite a bit less than you might find at other deluxe resorts. I'm not saying they're cheap by any means, they're just less and might be a more reasonable price point, especially if you're splitting the bill amongst multiple people in your group. 1-bedroom villas tend to cost around $770 to $870 per night. 2 bedrooms cost $1,100 to $1,300, and 3 bedrooms do jump up, averaging around $2,300 to $2,600 per night. Now, my biggest beef that I have against Old Key West is how you're going to spend a lot of money on one of these rooms that are relatively nice on the inside, but they still open out into outdoor hallways, making them feel very motel-like and, in a sense, cheaper, even though you're spending a ton of money to stay here. It's not necessarily a deal breaker by any means, but it is something you'll want to keep in mind. That's something that might grind your gears about this deluxe resort as well. Now, Old Key West isn't going to be everyone's cup of tea. When it comes to Disney theming, it's definitely more subdued and subtle, and it feels more like a resort you could book practically anywhere in Florida. And aside from Olivia's Cafe, which is a down-to-earth, brunchy table service that feels like an Old Key West hidden gem, there's really not a whole lot of dining around this resort like you might find at the other deluxe resorts. Though, much like the Port Orleans hotels, you can always take a riverboat over to Disney Springs to expand your food options. Regardless, this is a great hotel if you're looking to escape the Disney chaos and experience more of that classic Florida vibe and stay in a bigger deluxe level room for a little less money. Hot tip, you might not always see it posted on the online menu, but the Goods Food to Go quick service has some of the best exclusive Dole Whip property-wide, so when it's available, be sure to pick up the Key Lime Dole Whip from Goods. This Key Lime Dole Whip is swirled with vanilla and topped with graham cracker crumbs, so really it's more of a key lime pie Dole Whip, which is even better. Aloha! Welcome to Polynesian Village Resort, another tropical paradise and quite honestly, many guests' favorite Disney hotel to stay at. If you're a fan of Moana or Lilo and Stitch or just the Hawaiian, Polynesian, island aesthetic in general, then you're bound to fall in love with Polynesian Village too. In fact, there's even more to love about it nowadays since the Disney Vacation Club Island Tower opened up last year, bringing with it new rooms as well as a new pool and new bar and grill and one of the best burgers I've ever had on the Disney scene. Speaking of food, Polynesian Village has a ton of tropical dining options for you to choose from. Now, I know I said Animal Kingdom Lodge is the best dining resort. This is probably the second best, in my opinion and my estimation. There are great quick services, family-style dining, even a full-on enchanted bar complete with active volcanoes and tiki goddesses. Thanks, Trader Sam. And if you dine at the famous Ohana restaurant, you're going to find character dining if and only if you book a meal for breakfast. This is when you can meet friends like Mickey, Pluto, Lilo, and Stitch while dining on a spread of morning eats and drinks, many of which have tropical influences. Now, Polynesian Village is the third and final resort on the monorail line, so you can get over to Magic Kingdom or Epcot or the other two monorail resorts very easily. But you can also take a boat over to Magic Kingdom instead, or you can walk right on up to the front gates if you prefer. When it comes to rooms, Polynesian Village has the usual deluxe lineup of suspects, but one of the most coveted room options to book at Polynesian Village are the Bora Bora bungalows. These bungalows hang out over the water with a crystal clear view of Cinderella Castle off in the distance, and they each include 2 full bathrooms, a full kitchen, living and dining areas, washer, dryer, and a private deck with a plunge pool. Okay, now for the hard pill to swallow, the price. If you want a basic standard room at Polynesian Village, at its cheapest before any discounts are applied, you might be able to get one for around $730 per night during slow season. But on average, even Polynesian's standard rooms are going to cost you $840 to $990 per night. For one of the new deluxe studios over at the Island Tower, the average price isn't too terribly different from the standard ones, but prices can get as high as $1,300 per night around the holiday season. As for those Bora Bora bungalows, well, the average price for those is going to be about $4,100 to $4,600 per night. All in all, we love the theme of this resort. I have spent quite a bit of time in Hawaii, and this honestly feels like a Hawaiian resort. It is that fabulous, kind of kitschy, kind of luxurious vibe that you're going to find in classic Hawaii resorts. So I think it's really authentic and I love it. It's also a great fit for families or honeymooners or anyone who just really is looking for a tropical getaway along with their Disney vacation. This is always one of the first places I come when I get to Disney World because I get a lapu lapu, which is that fabulous rum drink and a pineapple, and then you feel like you're really on vacation. But there's no denying that the price is intimidating. Note I didn't say that I stay here every time I go to Disney World. I just go here to get the lapu lapu. Now, here's a hot tip. Trader Sam's Grog Grotto opens at 3 p.m. daily, and you will need to put your name on a walk-up wait list right when it opens if you want the chance to check it out on most days. However, it tends to be easier to get inside this lounge on the nights before Run Disney events, since all the racers will call it quits earlier, preparing for the morning ahead. Okay, earlier on, we got to see the artistry of Africa inside Animal Kingdom Lodge, and now it's time to see the artistry of the French Riviera inside Riviera Resort. The Riviera is specifically themed around Walt Disney and his European travels, so expect to see a little coffee shop right off the lobby, nicer places to eat featuring French and Italian and Mediterranean cuisine, French posters depicting some classic Disney and Pixar films, and what's quite possibly our favorite artwork represented across any of the resorts, those scaling Peter Pan and Tangled murals leading up to the Riviera's Skyliner station. The resort is knock out gorgeous. It's also one of Disney's newest Disney Vacation Club resorts. That being said, it's one of the most expensive hotels you can stay at on the Skyliner, and it's also one of the most expensive hotels you can stay at without being able to walk to a park. This is the rub for me, and probably the reason why I don't stay here is because it is pretty far away from all the parks, and I can't just walk to a park, and I'm not going to pay that much without getting that amenity as part of it. This also has one of the smallest rooms you can book in Disney World. It's called a Tower Studio, and it sleeps up to 2 people, and it has a pull-down queen bed only. And you're basically only going to be able to pull down that bed when you're ready to sleep because it's hard to get around the room when it's down. Now, the cheapest that you're ever going to see these Tower Studio rooms is probably $500 per night, which is wild when you consider that you can pay around the same price and get a full-on cabin at Fort Wilderness along with all of the deluxe resort amenities. At its most expensive, Tower Studios can get up to $880 per night. There are bigger room options here too, like the 1 to 3 bedroom villas and the deluxe studios that sleep up to 5 people. A typical deluxe studio usually costs $900 to $960 per night, while a 1-bedroom villa will average around $1,100 to $1,300. Look, I love visiting the Riviera. Like, I could just cozy up there for the day and be perfectly content with a cup of coffee and an amazing view of the Skyliner, but this resort is probably more worth staying at if you're using your Disney Vacation Club points or renting them from another member. Otherwise, if you're just trying to book a Disney resort to get convenient Skyliner options, then Caribbean Beach, Art of Animation, and Pop Century will all be a lot kinder on your budget. Here's a hot tip though, the Voyageurs Lounge is right around the corner from Le Petit Cafe, but you don't have to pay anything to chill out here. This is just a great place to sip coffee, charge your phone, get some work done, or simply appreciate a little bit of peace and quiet inside an area with lots of travel knickknacks lining the shelves. All of the Disney Vacation Club resorts have these kind of hangout rooms. They're very fun to go and chill out in, especially if you need a little AC or you need to do a little work while you're on property. So horse racing and golf are the 2 key themes you're going to find in and around Saratoga Springs Resort. This is another classic Disney Vacation Club hotel that's not too terribly far away from Old Key West. And much like OKW, expect to find several families here who've probably been part of DVC for lots of years now. And consider Saratoga their home away from home. Saratoga Springs is themed around the late 1800s New York retreat, famous for its horse racing. It was also famous for its elegant spa, which is something else that Saratoga used to offer up for guests. But the Saratoga Spa has not been up and running ever since the COVID closures in 2020. The outside golf courses are still going strong, though. If you got some pro golfers or just straight up golf fans in the family, Saratoga Springs is shoulder to shoulder with the country club style Lake Buena Vista golf course. So even the folks who are a little hesitant about going to Disney in the first place might still find something to do here. Dining-wise, Saratoga Springs is definitely lacking. Sure, there's one table service restaurant, and yes, there's a quick service option as well as a few snacky areas too, but there's no defining food themes or real high-quality offerings here that'll make it worth going out of your way to eat at this resort, if you're not already staying here. However, this is the 4th and final hotel on this list that also has riverboat transportation to Disney Springs to help expand your dining options. And you can also walk to Disney Springs from here. It's a little bit tougher to walk here from some of the farther away buildings, but if you're staying in the buildings closer to Springs, it's an easy walk. When it comes to room styles at Saratoga, you've got deluxe studios featuring a balcony and porch area that can sleep up to 4 adults with 1 queen bed and 1 double-sized pull-down bed. During slow season, a deluxe studio will usually cost about $480 to $520 per night, but during peak season, prices can hike up to $820 a night. You've also got the much more spacious 1 to 3 bedroom villas. A 2-bedroom villa, which can sleep up to 9 adults, will put you back on average around $1,100 to $1,300 per night, which is actually a much better deal than most DVC deluxe resorts on property for that much space. Similar to Old Key West, Saratoga Springs also has rooms that open into an outdoor hallway. So if that's a big turnoff for you, you might want to book a different deluxe resort that doesn't give you quite the same motel-like vibes. But the most unique villa style that you can book over at Saratoga is the Saratoga Tree House. Now, these tree houses are built on stilts, which will put you at eye level with all those nearby trees. The tree houses will give you your own outdoor patio, full kitchen, 2 separate bathrooms, and your own washer and dryer, which is a nice additional perk for any of those DVC villas that you book. The Saratoga tree houses are tough to book and oftentimes book up a year in advance, but if you can secure one, expect them to cost on average about $1,400 to $1,600 per night. Warning though, these tree houses are pretty far away from all the resort amenities and the main lobby. Actually, they're pretty far away from pretty much everything. If that's okay with you and you like more of that escape the world type vibe, then don't let that distance stop you from trying to book a tree house. But if you're looking for more convenience when it comes to dining and pools and shops and activities being close to you, these tree houses aren't going to provide you with that specific luxury. Saratoga Springs is cozy enough with lots of spacious rooms and a very quiet atmosphere, but it's certainly not going to be convenient for everyone. Bus transportation can take a while due to how spaced out this resort is, and there's not a lot of great dining options unless you're planning on traveling to Disney Springs a lot. And it's more of a golfer's oasis, which might not be the most appealing theme for kids who just want Mickey Mouse in their face at all times. Hot tip, some Saratoga Springs rooms are also within walking distance to Disney Springs. If you book a room in the Congress Park section of the resort, you'll be closest to the pedestrian walkway bridge, leading you right on over to the shopping district. I know we talked about Fort Wilderness earlier, but Wilderness Lodge is a completely different resort that's more focused on turn-of-the-century lodges found in America's Great Northwest. So expect scaling wood structures, hand-carved totem poles, babbling brooks streaming outside and inside the lobby, giant Grand Canyon-esque fireplaces. There's even a little geyser that goes off every hour on the hour, not too far away from the Geyser Point Bar and Grill. Fitting, right? So dining at Wilderness Lodge is cozy and hearty, and depending on where you dine, maybe a little bit zany at times. Isn't that right, Whispering Canyon Cafe? I personally think that the Storybook Dining at Artist Point is one of the best character restaurants on property, since you'll have the chance to meet Snow White and company while dining in an enchanted forest setting. The whole resort is rustic and peaceful and really makes you feel like you're one with the outdoors, while still keeping things a little more on the bougie side. Unlike Fort Wilderness, we're back to regular hotel room setups again in the main Wilderness Lodge building, with standard rooms, deluxe rooms that can sleep up to 6 guests, and club level rooms too. But there are still cabins available in this area. You're just going to have to make your way over to the DVC Copper Creek Villas and Cabins. And these cabins are a lot bougier than the ones at Fort Wilderness. Over at Copper Creek, you can book a deluxe studio that sleeps up to 4 guests, 1 to 3 bedroom villa, or you can book the swankiest cabin on site, the 2-bedroom cabin, which sleeps up to 8 adults and features 2 full bathrooms, a full kitchen, living and dining areas, an honest-to-goodness fireplace, washer dryer, private porch with a hot tub. That's right, you get your own personal hot tub. Now, those cabins are definitely pricier than you're going to find at Fort Wilderness. Expect to pay $2,700 to $3,000 per night during slow season, and upwards of $5,200 per night when Disney's in holiday mode. But that's not Wilderness Lodge's only Disney Vacation Club offering. You're also going to find the Boulder Ridge Villas over in this area. Now, these offer deluxe studios that sleep up to 5 guests and 1 to 2 bedroom villas. The 1-bedroom only sleeps up to 4 guests, but the 2-bedroom can sleep up to 8. The 2-bedroom villa at Boulder Ridge will cost on average around $1,800 to $2,000 per night. And of course, your most affordable option here will be staying in one of the standard rooms inside the main Wilderness Lodge building. Often these will be priced around $600 to $700 per night. This can be a great deluxe resort option for those who want to stay fairly close to Magic Kingdom, yet still keep a healthy distance away from the park hustle and bustle. You're not going to have monorail access when you stay at Wilderness Lodge, but you still have both bus and boat access to the Magic Kingdom gates. Now, hot tip, there's a hidden train room located over on the first floor of the Boulder Ridge lobby. Remember how I said there's rooms in the Disney Vacation Club resorts that are kind of good chill out rooms where people go to just hang out, play games, whatever. Well, this is called the Carolwood Pacific Railroad Room, named after the small railway that Walt Disney built in his own Los Angeles backyard. Here you're going to find lots of train decor and scale models of the very train that lived at Walt's house. There's a gorgeous fireplace, there's games to play, Bay, it's just an awesome chill spot. And it feels like it's Christmas all year round in here. It's a great spot for Disney history buffs to explore, and for free. So whether you prefer sailing or beaching or just being really, really close to Epcot at all times, the Yacht and Beach Club resorts have received gold stars of approval from a lot of guests over the years, myself included. Though I'm referring to Yacht and Beach Club in the same point, these are two separate resorts with two different personalities. Yacht Club has more of that formal sailing nautical vibe, think polos and boat shoes and sweaters tied around your shoulders, while Beach Club is a little lighter and a little brighter and a little more about that classic surf and sand mentality. Between the two resorts, Yacht and Beach Club share a few nice table service restaurants. They have some okay quick services, nothing to write home about, a fun character dining breakfast over at Cape May Cafe on the Beach Club side of things, a beach side for sunny day lounging, and most importantly, the recently reopened and refurbished Stormalong Bay pool. Oh, we have missed it so much. Stormalong Bay has so much to offer that the other Disney World hotel pools won't, including a lazy river, a 230-foot-long water slide, and 3 acres of water attractions, plus a sand bottom pool. Now, when it comes to rooms, Beach Club tends to have a little more variety than Yacht Club. Yacht Club has the standard room setup, the club level rooms, 2-bedroom suites, and the unique turret suite that sleeps up to 8 adults and has those panoramic windows looking out across Stormalong Bay or Crescent Lake. A standard room at Yacht Club will more than likely cost you $620 to $650 a night during slow season, but could break the $1,000 mark during peak seasons. Meanwhile, a turret suite's going to cost on average around $2,600 to $2,800 per night. Not quite the same as the cabins or the Bora Bora bungalows, but still pretty expensive. Over at Beach Club, you got standard rooms, deluxe rooms that sleep 5 to 6 adults, club level rooms, 1 to 2 bedroom villas, and a couple more unique suite options like the Nantucket VP suite that sleeps up to 4 guests and comes with a small fridge, a coffee and tea station, patio balcony, and club level access. And you've got the Newport Presidential Suite, includes all the same amenities as the Nantucket suite, but sleeps up to 8 guests instead of just 4. Beach Club's standard rooms range around $780 to $800 per night, while a suite like the Newport Presidential will regularly cost $1,800 to $1,900 per night. While I do love both of these resorts, albeit I think I like Beach Club just a little bit more because it's closer to Epcot. Literally, this is as close as you can get to the park without flat out just being in the park. But these resorts might not be the best fit for those who are looking for a truly unique Disney World resort experience, like you'll find at Animal Kingdom Lodge or even Art of Animation for a lot less. That being said, Stormalong Bay is the coolest feature pool property-wide since it's basically like its own mini water park, and you still get all those nearby transportation perks like the Skyliner and the Friendship boats right into Epcot, and you can also walk to Epcot and Hollywood Studios from both of these resorts. Now, hot tip here, Yacht and Beach Club are in the same loop as Boardwalk Inn, so it's super easy to walk over to that resort too if you're looking to expand your dining options even more. Okay, we did it! We went through every single Disney World hotel. Think you know what Disney World hotel you want to call home away from home? If you don't, no worries. You can always continue your Disney Resort shopping adventure by checking out the Ultimate Guide to Choosing Your Disney World Hotel video if you haven't watched that one already. And don't forget to pick up our free Disney World calendar to stay in the loop about everything going on around the Disney World scene. It's at disneyfoodblog.com/WDW calendar. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.